Welcome to the Course Creators Podcast with course design expert Jenny Rice. Whether you're an experienced creator or just starting out, this podcast helps build courses that resonate, transform, and make an impact. Each episode, we'll explore strategies and tips to help you create engaging, successful courses. Let's dive in.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice from Course Creators Podcast. I'm so very excited about our guest today. We've got Bianca Criscuolo, who's an artist, contemporary artist, visual artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah. So let's start off. Tell me a bit about your background, because I can see all the pictures behind you, and I know you have a very, very colorful background.
Yeah. So I'm a full-time visual artist working out of a creative studio in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm also part of a larger guild in Manhattan called Call to Gather that does creative work for public access to arts. I do a lot of dream interpretation pieces and work around that. Personally, I've been illustrating my dreams for about a decade now and doing dream interpretation classes with people for about 2 years publicly and 2 years privately with one-on-one sessions, and have done in the past year or so probably 3 to 4 large-scale projects around the concept of reigniting a conversation around dreams for people. I think we're in the first time in human history where we don't talk about dreams with some type of truth. Every culture across the world, across all of time, has had dreams a part of the regular day-to-day conversation. So I've been working on a large lecture series with an app called MP Dream, which is the first ever scientifically backed dream app. And currently I'm in the process of getting grant funding for a showcase exhibition with 4 other participating artists, me as like the curator and lead artist, kind of overall encompassing that idea of how each of us express, explore, and might engage with our dreams. And then how it can come together as like a full-scale conversation. And in general, I would say my art practice, beyond just exploring dreams, is very heavily influenced by this idea of the pursuit of truth, beauty, and hope in life. And I think dreams have a big part of that. And I really have this passion for what it means to kind of reimagine the sublime through artwork. So that's kind of a very quick condense.
Yeah. No, very colorful background. And I love that you're taking, because dreams are visual, right? You don't dream in words, you dream in images. So being able to record those dreams in images and illustrations and expressing that part of ourselves is so amazing, because I would imagine once you do that, you're tapping into that creative part of your soul and your dreams for meaning and being able to express that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed with one-on-one clients in particular, but even in my group sessions and stuff, that even people who don't consider themselves creative, I think human beings as a species are naturally creation-based beings. We want to make things. We want to see the work of our hands done. We want to just see the products, the fruits of our labor. And so making them like begin by illustrating and drawing with their dreams, it subverts the language, or like you don't need the language exactly to understand your dream, but gives you a space that's more meditative to kind of think about, explore, and really think about the symbols in your dreams. So that's why I use illustration as like a core, or illustration or literature writing exercises for people to kind of explore their dream.
Yeah. And I would imagine, and tell me if I'm correct, that when you do that, you're sort of tapping into the images, but more the emotion behind those images, and how do you interpret them? Because when you express them in a visual art way, you're sort of saying, well, how did I react to that image? It's not just about, the black and white picture of it. It's what is that meaning to me, right?
Absolutely. I like to tell people in the beginning of all of the sessions that we do that at a very core, like 101 level, symbols typically fall into one of 3 categories, which is going to be, you're going to have a positive connotation for the same symbol, a negative connotation, and or personal. For example, like a turtle, we could say, if we're having dreams about turtles, that if the dream has a negative connotation to it, that turtle is going to have this connotation of the weight of existence and the burden of carrying your home on your back, or not feeling like you have a place to just really settle. And then if we're thinking if the dream feels positive, that's going to totally shift the meaning of that turtle into something much more along the lines of the pursuit of wisdom and pushing forward and being resilient, and kind of regardless of what everything else around you feels like, you're continuing on. And then if it's personal, that's where people's personal intuition, which is why I always tell people, don't go to like a guru or a psychic to talk about your dreams. Go to your family, go to your friends, because the personal symbols are always going to be that most significant for you, where I wouldn't know if a turtle represents your grandmother to you. You know what I mean? If your grandmother turtles, collected them, had stuffed animals, and that's so tied to that for you, I wouldn't know that. But if you can begin to like really dissect your dreams yourself and talk about them with your close family and friends, it like opens up that whole personal symbolism.
Right. Then they're connecting to that, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more on how your courses come about, and explain more how people participate in that, because it is very personal and it is very active, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. So the public sessions that I teach, where we probably have about 5 to 10, depending on how many I'm feeling like doing that week or month, is done through Call to Gather, which is the organization in Manhattan, the guild that really focuses on bringing creativity back into people's everyday lives. So all of our artists teach something to the public to make it accessible to our public art access in New York. And for me personally, I do those probably once a month, once every other month, depending on the energy for me to go into the city. I like to do them. I think they're fun. I love that engagement with like 8 people. I think there's something really special about that sharing with one another, you see yourself not isolated from what you're experiencing, which is nice. But I honestly think the most fun ones for me are, I have clients who reach out to me, whether it's through email, my Instagram, or I have like a sign up sheet for like a wait list on my website. And I could do one-on-one sessions, kind of almost like this format where it's like 2 of us just talking. It could be either at my studio if they're nearby. I love to have people for tea talk about their dreams. Or we just do like a Zoom session one-on-one for about an hour and a half, depending on what they need. And it really is guided through, we do the basics of symbolism, how to approach it. I do it from the artistic perspective. Art symbolism is a huge part of my schooling. I went to Parsons School of Design, so I had a very rich history studies of symbolism. And then from there, we kind of move into a little bit of taking their dream that they want to talk about that day and really breaking it apart with like the basic structure that I've developed for that. And yeah, that's kind of how the sessions usually progress.
Very cool. So can people participate remotely in the artist expression, like the drawings, or is that all in person?
Yeah, so I'm happy. I want to have people doing it when it's remote. I have a couple of one-on-one clients where I have them always drawing, at least in like little dream journals. And the public one is a little easier for people because I provide all the materials. But if people have materials, I'm always going to encourage them to have that meditative period during the session to kind of illustrate or write about the dream. So yes.
Very cool. Tell me more about how that works then.
Yeah, of course. So the way that I like to lead people through it is I have them sit, and in a moment of quiet, I walk them through a meditation, how a dream come up for them, and really give it space to be beheld and looked at, not necessarily digested yet, and just kind of hold it in a space for a moment. And then coming out of the meditation, we go straight into writing, and I have them write in a short format their experience and or the dream itself, whether they like to do that narratively, they want to write it as a poem, however they can express it through words. I have them do that, because when you write, it expands the muscle in your brain. And then when you go into the next phase, which is titling the dream, it contracts that information. So you're working this muscle of exercise from expansion to contraction, which helps with memory recall also for people who don't dream as much. And then after they've done that, they've titled it, we go straight into the illustration portion, where it's either meditative illustration, which could be just random shape, and like kind of how you have this formless shape here, it's
Right.
just expression, and a moment of deeper meditation while like accessing a part of the brain that is deeply tied to the subconscious, which is that artistic creative outlet. And then after they've done that, we typically will sit and dissect it and actively talk about it to either collectively as a group, if we're doing the group public sessions, or that one-on-one period is really where we kind of sit with the symbols, we talk about them, and I'll give my guidance on what a symbol could mean based on my deck of knowledge, but really I'm pushing them to explore their intuition when in relation to symbols. Like if you have this wolf in the dream and we're talking about it being a negative dream, what does a wolf typically mean negatively in culture, symbolically? And then if it's positive, what could that mean? Like, is it loyalty? Is it lies? What is it feeling there? Or do you have a personal connection with the wolf? So that's kind of where we start to really break down the symbols after they've done
great.
So
I love that you're tuning into really their unconscious mind to, you go to meditation first, so they're tapping into that internal knowingness, their higher self, to be able to express that. And what's even cooler is that you've adapted, because it is so participatory, you've adapted your course delivery approach depending on, like, it's in New York, it's remote, it's in my own studio, so you can reach more people and get more people involved in doing that, which is even more fantastic. So congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I love doing that with people.
Yeah. Do you have any challenges you can share with our listeners on when you were putting this together and how you've done it, that we can share with people and how you overcame them?
Yeah, of course. I think one of the big ones is accessibility for it just getting out into the world. It's a lot to do promotion, publishing, and trying to get the word out. That's where I personally, I like to partner with people who are better at things than me. So I work with Call to Gather, and they were the ones who encouraged me to do it anyways. The founder is a mentor of mine. So she was like, you need to teach this. I need you to do this. And I was like, I don't know if I'm capable of that. I'd never taught it. I've been doing it for over a decade myself, and kind of naturally with friends and family, not realizing it. But she's like, you need to teach it. You really should try. We tried it. And there was obviously a lot of struggle with getting people to know about it. Dreams are not something we think about really participating in as a session or workshop. It's a little bit taboo in certain times now. But I think reaching the right audience and just continuing to try, seeing failures as doorways to walk through, and not like the shutdown of you shouldn't be doing this, was a huge thing. Surrounding myself with people who are encouraging about it, huge. And just realizing that I loved it. So even if one of my public sessions, which happened quite a bit in the beginning, didn't fill up, like if there was 2 people who came to a session that had slots for 8, it was a privilege to be able to talk to these people about their dreams and be able to share what I do, regardless of whether or not I got to fill up. And I just kept at that. And I think that was that push through that was really helping and caused the momentum to happen, where now I get to partner with an app and I'm doing a project with it. And it's informed a lot of my large body of my work now because of that intimacy with people and sharing.
Yeah.
And to just do it, even if it made me no money for a little while.
And stepping into the unknown and trying it out and overcoming that fear. And maybe you did some dream interpretation over, oh my God, I had a dream last night about doing this session, and using that to interpret, to motivate you. And I'm so glad your mentor pushed you into that, because I'm assuming it's so rewarding for you now, right?
It really is. I joke with her all the time that I always felt like I wasn't a super emotional person with people. Like I could be very intellectual and very detached. Doing these sessions with people over and over again has made me very comfortable, and almost uncomfortably comfortable crying and sharing and talking to people through things. They turn oftentimes, for some of the dreams that people share, into a very therapeutic, cathartic session.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I think I have found that bit so rewarding, to have people not only feel comfortable to share with me and walk through something together, but also just being able to see them light up about this part of their life that's been very mundane. Like I think artists naturally, what they're called to do without realizing it, is make meaning out of the mundane parts of life. And I think when I get to see people get excited about making meaning out of a moment in their life and giving time and pause to something about themselves that's intimate, and then sharing, it's really exciting and fulfilling. Yeah.
That's great. It's just, and it shows. You can see the passion and the joy when you're expressing it, which is really cool. Yeah. So as we end this podcast, do you have any tips for other course creators, or maybe potential course creators, that maybe were at the stage you're at when your mentor encouraged you to do this?
One is a mentor is helpful. Somebody that has experience like yourself, it's very helpful to have that wisdom and guidance and push into something. And I would say, if you are doing it because you love it, be okay with the fact that for a while, you will not see the fruits of your labor. It will truly be like, I'm planting the seed, watering the flower, watching it grow. It's just a sprout. It's finally a little bit bigger and it's giving me something. And now finally there's fruit of it. I think really being okay with that, it lends itself to a level of comfortability with people who are even coming and attending that makes it feel professional off the bat, which was really interesting for me when I shifted.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great tip to share. So thank you for that. You know, and I've learned a lot because you've expressed your process, 1, 2, the outcome, and that you're living your passion. You know, you're mixing something you've been doing yourself for over a decade, like you said, with your creative artwork, and then helping people. I'm getting goosebumps. This is so cool. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very, very blessed with the life that I get to lead, truly.
Yeah. And the impact you're having too. So yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear more about your app when it comes launch. So please let us know, let our listeners know. So it's been great having you on this podcast. So thank you for being a guest.
Thank you so much. This was lovely. I really
Yeah. Thanks, Bianca. This is Jenny Rice with Course Creators Podcast with our special guest, Bianca, today.
Thanks for listening to the Course Creators Podcast. For more insights and to connect with a community of creators, join our Course Creator channel on The Great Discovery. We offer both free and premium memberships. Check the link below. Until next time, keep creating, inspiring, and transforming lives.